Have you ever noticed that some people seem to carry an invisible weight when it comes to money? No matter how hard they try, no matter how many courses they take, there's always a ceiling. A limit, a barrier that seems made of bulletproof glass. What if I told you that ceiling isn't yours? That you inherited that limitation? That you're paying for emotional debts that aren't even yours? Welcome to the Quantum Portal. I am the Quantum Architect, and today we're diving into the heaviest inheritance you carry, the invisible financial inheritance, the one that's not in any will, but is engraved in your emotional DNA. While you watch this video, someone in your family lineage is breathing a sigh of relief, because you're about to break a chain that has imprisoned generations. Think with me. Do you know anyone in your family who has always repeated the same patterns with money? Your father, your mother, your grandparents, always in the same income bracket, always with the same difficulties, always with the same phrases. Money doesn't grow on trees, the rich just get richer. We were born to suffer. God helps those who rise early, but never those who want to get rich. These phrases aren't just popular sayings. They're sentences, energetic decrees that cross generations like a cursed inheritance. And to understand the depth of this, I need to bring someone who dedicated his life to studying the collective unconscious and the patterns that cross families. Carl Jung is entering the wagon. Jung looks at you with that penetrating gaze and says, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." He pauses. Do you think your financial decisions are really yours? Or are you just executing a script written 3-4 generations ago? Think about your great-grandmother, a woman who perhaps lived through the Great Depression or hyperinflation, or the Dust Bowl. She learned that saving was survival, that spending was danger, that trusting was navit. She didn't transmit this in words. She transmitted it in the fear that crossed her gaze when she saw money being wasted, in the tightness in her chest when someone dreamed big, in the automatic distrust of any opportunity. And you know the scariest part. You feel that same tightness, that same distrust, that same fear. But you haven't lived through anything that justifies it. Jung leans forward. You carry the financial trauma of people you never met, and until you clean this up, your bank account will be a reflection of their past, not the future you desire. Now let's add another layer. Alan Watts materializes in the wagon, with that serene smile of someone who sees the whole game. Watts lights an imaginary pipe and begins. The funniest thing about family inheritances is that people fight desperately to receive material inheritances, but carry emotional inheritances without questioning. Did your grandfather leave a house? You fight in court. Did he leave a belief that you don't deserve wealth? You accept it as absolute truth. He laughs softly. You're heirs to emotional bankruptcies and don't even charge interest on it. The truth is brutal. You're living the financial reality that your ancestors programmed, not because they're bad, but because no one taught them how to clean the system. Hélio Couto, the Brazilian quantum physicist who decoded these structures, explains, in the quantum field, intense emotional patterns create standing waves. Severe financial traumas generate morphogenetic fields so dense that they anchor in the family lineage for generations. When your grandmother went hungry as a child, that terror didn't just stay in her memory. It was recorded in the family's informational field. And you, even never having gone hungry, feel terror when you see your account in the red. It's not coincidence, it's field. And Dakila Research, investigating generational memories and informational fields, discovered entire families share the same financial blocks, even when their members are in different countries, with completely different realities. Cousins who never spoke, in opposite corners of the world, repeating the same saboteur, "I was almost making it, but something always goes wrong at the end." This isn't bad luck, it's programming. Jordan Peterson enters the wagon now with that characteristic intensity and goes straight to the point. You need to understand something. You're not just living your life. You're concluding unfinished stories of people who came before you. Your financial failure might be the unconscious revenge that your grandfather didn't have the courage to execute against the boss who exploited him. He crosses his arms. You think you're self-sabotaging. No, you're being loyal. Unconscious loyalty to family patterns. Staying poor is a way of saying, "See, Dad, you were right. The world is cruel and there's no way out." This is deep and painful. Because when you realize your failure is an act of loyalty, everything changes. You're not failing, you're obeying. And before you sink into this, Carl Rogers sits beside you with that welcoming presence of someone who truly understands pain. Rogers puts his hand on your shoulder, but here's the good news. You have the power to forgive this lineage. You can look at all this history and say, "You did the best you could with what you had. But I choose differently, and I choose for all of us," he smiles. When you free yourself, you free those who came before and those who will come after. You become the breaking point. So here's the truth that will change everything. You're not breaking with your family when you prosper. You're honoring the secret dream that all of them had and couldn't realize. Your wealth isn't betrayal, it's completion. And now, an invitation. If you feel this video is speaking directly to your soul, if each word resonates as a truth you always knew but never verbalized, then you didn't arrive here by chance. Subscribe to this channel, because the next videos will give you the exact tools to clean each layer of this inheritance and rewrite your financial story from scratch. And activate the bell, because this series is an initiation. Each video is a step and you're climbing. Now that you understand you're carrying inheritances that aren't yours, let's get to what really matters. How to identify exactly which invisible contracts you signed without knowing? Because it's no use knowing a programming exists if you don't know which one it is. Hélio Couto teaches there are 3 main contracts that families establish in the quantum field. And until you consciously cancel them, they operate in the background, sabotaging every attempt at expansion. Let's break down each one. And prepare yourself, because you'll recognize yourself in at least one of them. Contract 1. The Pact of Shared Scarcity. This is the most common in America. It works like this. If I suffer, you suffer with me. If I can't make it, you can't make it either. Sounds brutal, but that's exactly what happens. Your mother struggled all her life as a teacher, earning poorly, being undervalued. She never complained, but you saw the exhaustion. You saw the resignation. And now, you, with all the opportunities she didn't have, feel guilty when you earn well, when you travel, when you buy something expensive, because unconsciously, you think you're betraying her struggle. Jung returns to the wagon and explains, this contract has a name, unconscious family loyalty. You don't want to stand out because that means abandoning the tribe. And for the primitive unconscious, abandonment is death. He walks through the wagon. So you self-sabotage. You lose opportunities at the last minute. You get involved in relationships that drain your money, all to ensure you remain at the same level of suffering as your lineage. Practical American example. John grew up watching his father work 3 jobs. His father always said, "Work is suffering, son. Those who don't sweat don't eat." John today has a company, but feels guilty every time he hires someone to do something he could do. He exhausts himself, micromanages everything, doesn't delegate. Why? Because delegating would be being lazy, it would betray his father's legacy. Result, the company doesn't grow. John lives exhausted, and worst of all, he thinks he's honoring his father. But he's not. He's imprisoning the dream his father could never realize. Contract 2. The silent vow of poverty. This one is subtle and deadly. Many American families have deep Protestant roots, and in the Protestant matrix, especially in past generations, there was an unconscious equation. Poverty is holiness. Wealth is sin. It is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. This phrase was internalized as absolute truth and became a vow. Peterson stands up. adjusts his glasses and fires. You think you're free to get rich. You're not. You're trapped in a religious narrative that says suffering is noble and prospering is morally questionable. He points at you. How many times have you caught yourself thinking, I don't need that much? How many times have you refused money, opportunities, or promotions because other people need it more? This isn't humility. It's self-sabotage masked as virtue. Practical example, Maria works as a therapist. She's excellent, but she charges values way below market rate. When someone suggests she raise her prices, she says, oh, but my clients can't afford more. I do this out of love. Beautiful, right? No, it's a vow of poverty. Because Maria doesn't realize that by charging little, she attracts clients who don't value the work, she exhausts herself to compensate for the low value. And in the end, she can't really help anyone, because she's always on the verge of financial collapse. The vow of poverty says, I give up wealth to be loved. I sacrifice my comfort to be accepted, and the quantum field responds, okay, you asked for poverty as proof of love. Here it is, Contract 3, the agreement of deferred revenge. This is the darkest and the most powerful. It works like this. Someone in your lineage was deeply wronged financially, robbed, exploited, betrayed, humiliated. And this person, instead of processing the anger, buried it, swallowed it dry. Sad. One day justice will be done, except one day never came for them. And now you, unconsciously, are executing the revenge. How? By destroying your own chances of financial success to prove that the world is unjust. Watts lights an imaginary incense and says, you know what's ironic? People who were economically exploited spend the rest of their lives proving that exploitation exists, repeatedly putting themselves in situations where they'll be exploited again. He laughs, but it's a sad laugh. It's as if they said, see, I knew you couldn't trust them. And then they feel validated in the pain. Practical example. Carlos has an uncle who was robbed by a partner 30 years ago. The entire family still talks about it. It was a terrible betrayal. He was never the same. Carlos, today, without realizing it, has a fear of partnerships. He refuses brilliant partnerships, doesn't trust investors, prefers to do everything alone. And guess what? He never grew beyond a certain point. Because unconsciously, he's saying, see, uncle, you were right. You can't trust anyone. It's revenge. But against whom? Against himself. Rogers approaches again with that deep empathy. These contracts don't make you a bad person. They make you a human being trapped in loyalties you don't perceive. But now that you see, you can choose. That's the difference between unconsciousness and consciousness. So, here's the exercise that will change everything. Exercise. Contract mapping. Get paper and pen. Don't do this mentally. Writing anchors in the physical. Question 1. What was the phrase about money I heard most in my childhood? Write, feel, without judgment. Question 2. Who in my family was deeply hurt financially? Write the name. Write what happened. Question 3. In what way am I repeating this pattern, even saying I don't want to? Be brutal, be honest. Now, read what you wrote out loud. Say, I see this contract, and I choose to cancel it now. Simple. Yes, superficial. No, because when you name the invisible, it loses power. In the next chapter, we'll get into the quantum physics of this. You'll understand how these contracts operate in the field, how they anchor in emotional DNA, and why cleaning this changes not just your life, but the life of your entire lineage. Don't leave. You're about to understand the mechanics of the miracle. So far, you've identified the contracts. You know they exist, but how do they operate? How does a belief of someone who died 80 years ago still interfere with your bank account today? Let's go to physics. And prepare yourself, because this will explode any remnant of materialistic vision you still carry. Hélio Couto, based on quantum physics and Rupert Sheldrake's studies on morphogenetic fields, explains, information doesn't disappear. It organizes itself into fields. When your grandmother had an emotional collapse, losing everything in the hyperinflation of the 1980s, that terror didn't just stay in her brain memory. It was recorded in the family's informational field. Think of the field as an invisible data cloud that all family members access unconsciously, like an emotional Wi-Fi. And here's the point. You don't need to have lived the trauma to feel the impact. You just need to be connected to the field. Jung, walking slowly through the wagon, says, "I called this the collective unconscious." Sheldrake called it morphogenetic field. Dakila calls it informational field. The names change, but the essence is the same. There's an invisible matrix that connects you to all your ancestors. He stops and looks deep into your eyes. And this matrix doesn't judge. It just stores and transmits. If your lineage stored fear, you receive fear. If it stored scarcity, you receive scarcity. Dakila Research, investigating timelines and generational memories, discovered something disturbing. Severe financial traumas create knots in the family field, points of high energetic density that act as anchors. Imagine a network. Each person in the family is a point in this network. When someone suffers intense financial trauma, that point becomes a knot, and the more intense the trauma, the denser the knot. Now, imagine you try to expand. You're growing professionally, earning more, flowing. But suddenly, you feel a pull, a resistance, as if something is pulling you back. It's not imagination. It's the knot. It's the lineage's anchor saying, "Nobody here grows beyond this point." Watts lights sandalwood incense and says with that disconcerting calm, "You know what's fascinating? You think you're fighting against your own limitations. But actually, you're fighting against a system that has 200 years of programming." He smiles. "It's like trying to shut down a computer without knowing the password. You press all the buttons, but nothing happens. Because the system is running programming you can't see. And here's the part that will fry your brain. Hélio Couto demonstrates through epigenetic studies that intense emotional traumas can alter genetic expression. And these alterations can be transmitted for up to 4 generations. In other words, your great-grandmother's financial terror may have literally altered how your genes respond to money situations. You're not just inheriting beliefs. You're inheriting emotional biology. Peterson stands up with that almost uncomfortable intensity. So tell me, how do you expect to change your financial reality without cleaning the field? How do you expect to prosper if you're fighting against 4 generations of programming? He points at you. You can't, it's impossible. It's like trying to drive a car with the parking brake on. You accelerate, 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 but the car barely moves. And you think the problem is the engine. No, the problem is the brake you didn't even know was engaged now. The good news, informational fields can be reprogrammed. Anchors can be dissolved. Contracts can be canceled. How? Through conscious intervention in the field. When you, in this present moment, decide to clean the inheritance, you're not just changing your future. You're altering the past of the lineage. Sounds absurd. Let's go to physics. At the quantum level, time isn't linear. Past, present, and future coexist. When you change your vibrational frequency now, you alter the probability of past events manifesting as influence in the present. Translating, when you clean the field now, you're healing traumas that happened decades ago. Rogers, with that deep compassion, says, "And you know what that means? It means your healing isn't just yours. When you free yourself, you free everyone. Those who came before and those who will come after." He puts his hand on your chest. You're not just an individual. You're a transformation point in the entire family network. Dakila Research documented cases of people who, after deep field cleaning processes, saw inexplicable financial changes in the entire family. Cousins they hadn't seen in years started prospering. Parents who had been stagnant for decades suddenly had opportunities. It's not magic. It's field. When you clean your line, you clean the entire network. So here's the initial protocol. Before the final exercise, you need to understand the 3 levels of cleaning. Level 1, conscious recognition. You've already done this. You identified the contracts. You named the invisible. Level 2, energetic cancellation. You'll declare in the field that these contracts are finished. It's not just mental, it's vibrational. Level 3, new, matrix installation. You'll anchor a new frequency. Because cleaning the old isn't enough, you need to install the new. In the next chapter, you'll see real cases of people who did this, and the results are disturbing in a good way. But before moving forward, an offer. If you want to go even deeper, if you want access to complete protocols, advanced exercises, and real-time monitoring of this transformation, subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Because what's coming is material most people will never access. And you're here for a reason. In the next chapter, real transformation cases. Ordinary people who cleaned the inheritance and saw their financial lives change overnight. Are you ready to believe this is possible for you too? Then continue. Because testimony is the bridge between knowledge and faith, theory is beautiful. But you want proof. You want to know. Does this really work? So let's go to the cases, real people, documented transformations. No fairy. Thales, Caseuno, Renata, 42 Ana, São Paulo Dapchel, 42. Consultant, New York. Rachel had a consulting firm. Good revenue, loyal clients. But she could never break past $12,000 per month. Whenever she got close, something happened. A client delayed. A project fell through, a crisis emerged. During a family constellation session, she discovered something brutal. Her grandfather had been a prosperous businessman in the 1950s. He got rich, expanded, dreamed big, until he was betrayed by a partner, lost everything, went bankrupt, and never emotionally recovered. He spent the last 30 years of his life repeating, "I trusted, and they destroyed me. Never again." Rachel had never heard this story. She was a child when her grandfather died, but when she learned it, everything made sense. She realized every time her company grew, she self-sabotaged, because unconsciously, growing meant trusting, and trusting meant being destroyed, like her grandfather was. She was living her grandfather's revenge, proving he was right. You can't trust anyone. So she did the cleaning protocol, canceled the loyalty contract, and declared, "Grandpa, I honor your pain, but I choose differently. I will trust, and I will prosper." For me and for you. 3 months later, her company billed $50,000. 6 months later, $105,000. She opened a branch, hired a team. Coincidence? No. Field. Jung, observing from the wagon, comments, "You see, it wasn't a sales technique that changed revenue, it was the release of a knot in the family field." Rachel wasn't competing against the market. She was competing against her grandfather's trauma. Case to Andre, adapted Andrew. 35, university professor. Boston. Andrew came from a family of educators. Father, mother, aunts, uncles, grandparents. All teachers. And all with the same narrative. Education doesn't make money, but it's noble. Andrew believed this. He was a brilliant professor, but charged extremely low fees for lectures, refused corporate proposals because they weren't about real education, and lived financially tight. He discovered, in therapy, a story nobody talked about. His great-grandfather had been a successful merchant, rich, but the family, deeply religious, considered commerce worldly. There was a fight. The great-grandfather was excluded from the family, and from there, the entire family became educators, as if they were saying, "We're not like him. We're noble." Andrew was fulfilling a vow of poverty that was 100 years old. When he realized this, he made a radical choice. He said, "I forgive this story, and I choose to prosper without guilt." He started charging his real value, accepted corporate proposals, launched online courses. In 1 year, his revenue tripled. And you know what's most interesting? He continued being a brilliant educator. But now, without the martyrdom, Watts, shaking his head, says, "You see the trap?" Andrew thought poverty proved he cared. But the truth is, he could only impact more people when he stopped sabotaging himself. Case 3, Juliana adapted. Julia, 29, designer, Los Angeles. Julia had talent, beautiful work, impeccable portfolio, but she never closed big contracts. Always came in second place. Always almost, she discovered, in a regression, a memory that wasn't even hers. Her grandmother, at 18, was chosen for an incredible job opportunity. She would be the first woman in the family to have a career. But her grandmother's father forbade it. Women don't work outside. You'll marry and take care of the family. Her grandmother obeyed, married, had children, and died without ever realizing that dream. But the dream didn't die with her. It stayed in the field. Julia was trying to realize her grandmother's dream, but unconsciously, she was also honoring her great-grandfather's prohibition. So she always got close, but never closed, because closing would be disobeying. When Julia did the cleaning protocol and said, "Grandma, I realize your dream, and Great-Grandpa, I respect you, but I choose differently," everything changed. 2 weeks later, she closed the biggest contract of her career and never stopped. Rogers, with that deep sweetness, says, Julia didn't need to become another person. She just needed to free herself from being the bridge between two generations in conflict. Peterson stands up, intense. You understood the pattern. None of these cases is about technique. It's about field. It's about canceling invisible contracts that turn you into prisoners of stories that aren't even yours. And now, the question you're asking, but how do I know if I'm trapped in any of these contracts? Simple answer. 1. Do you always get close to financial success but something goes wrong at the end? 2. Do you feel guilty when you earn well or have more than your family? 3. Do you repeat the same financial mistakes, even knowing what you should do? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you're trapped. And the good news, you can get out now. In the next and final chapter, you'll receive the complete protocol. Step by step, the killer exercise, the cleaning mantra, and the cancellation declaration that will break these chains once and for all. But I need to warn you, what you'll do in the next chapter isn't superficial. It's not a cute little exercise. It's an energetic surgery, and it will hurt, because all deep healing disturbs before it liberates. Are you ready? Then take a deep breath, get water, and come with me to the final chapter. Because you didn't get here to continue living the life your great-grandparents projected for you. You got here to rewrite destiny. The time has come. Everything you've seen so far was preparation. Now, you'll act. This isn't a passive exercise. You won't just watch. You'll do it here, now, with me. So get paper, pen, and an object that symbolizes your family lineage. It can be a photo, an inherited jewel, anything that connects you to your family. Ready? Let's begin. Step 1. The declaration of visibility. Write on paper, in your handwriting. I see the invisible contracts I inherited. I see the pain that wasn't mine. I see the limits I didn't choose. Read out loud. 3 times, slowly, feeling each word. This isn't dramatic, this is anchoring. When you name out loud, you take it from the unconscious and bring it to consciousness. Jung, watching you, says, what is named can be transformed. What remains in the dark governs. Step 2. Generational forgiveness. Now, write the names of 3 people in your lineage who you know or feel had severe financial traumas. They can be people you met or not. Under each name, write, I forgive you for not being able to teach me about abundance. You did the best you could, and now, the hard part. Write, and I forgive myself for carrying your weight as if it were mine. Breathe, this might hurt. Emotion might come. Let it come. Don't block it. Rogers is beside you. Forgiving isn't forgetting. It's releasing. It's saying, you owe me nothing anymore. and I owe you nothing anymore. Step 3. Vibrational cancellation. Take the object that symbolizes your lineage. Hold it with both hands. Now, look at it and say out loud, I, your full name, cancel all inherited scarcity contracts. I cancel the pact of shared suffering. I cancel the silent vow of poverty. I cancel the agreement of deferred revenge. I declare, these stories end here. With me. Now, take a deep breath. Feel the weight leaving. What's light's incense? You feel it. It's like something is loosening, because it really did loosen. The field is responding. Step 4. New matrix installation. Now, take a new sheet. Right. I am the breaking point of my lineage. I prosper without guilt. I receive without fear. I expand without limit. And by prospering, I honor all who came before me, realizing the dream they carried but couldn't manifest. Read this every day, for 21 days, without exception. Why? Because the field needs repetition to consolidate the new frequency. Step 5. The killer exercise. The cutting ritual. This is the exercise that seals everything. Take a string or thread. Tie it lightly around your wrist. This symbolizes the connection to old contracts. Now, take a deep breath. Think about everything you discovered about your financial inheritance. Feel the weight. Feel the limitation. Feel the prison. And when you feel you're really connected to it, take scissors and cut the thread. Cut. Saying out loud, I free myself now, and throw the thread away. Literally, go out. Throw it in the trash and come back. Peterson, with that intensity, says, this might seem symbolic, but it's not. Symbolism is the language of the unconscious. When you cut the thread physically, you send an unequivocal message to the field. I tease over, for the next 21 days, every time you feel that old pull, that voice saying you don't deserve it, this isn't for you, you'll lose everything. Repeat this mantra, I am free. My lineage is free. The past no longer governs my present. I prosper in peace, simple, powerful, direct. Now, let's go to the final part, the most important. You did the protocol, but protocols only work if there's commitment. So I need you to make a choice. Here, now, look in the mirror, can be now or right after this video, and say, I choose prosperity, not just for me, but for all who came before and will come after. I am the transformation point, and I accept this responsibility. And then act. Because cleaning without action is just therapy. And you're not here to stay stagnant in eternal introspection. You're here to change your reality. So here's the final challenge. Make a bold financial action in the next 7 days. It can be charging your real value in a proposal, investing in something you've always been afraid of asking for a raise, launching that project that's been shelved, something the old you, trapped in contracts, would never do. And observe what happens. Because when you act from the new matrix, the field responds. Now, a warning. You might feel resistance, fear, guilt. This is normal. It's the old field trying to pull you back. Don't give in, breathe, repeat the mantra, and move forward. Rogers puts his hand on your shoulder one last time. You're not abandoning anyone by prospering. You're freeing everyone. And before closing, I have one last offer. If you want to continue this journey, if you want access to advanced protocols, daily exercises, and real-time monitoring to consolidate this transformation, subscribe to the channel. Because this series doesn't end here. We're just beginning to climb the steps, and activate the bell. Because the next videos will take you even deeper. The next in the series is the vibration of $10 versus $10,000, how to expand your financial set point. And you won't want to miss it. But for now, you already have what you need. You have the protocol, you have the tools, you have the knowledge. Now it's up to you. Will you do it, or will you continue being governed by ghosts of the past? I am the Quantum Architect, and you didn't arrive here by chance. You arrived here because your entire lineage conspired for you to find this video, for you to be the breaking point, for you to free everyone. Now, fulfill your destiny, cut the chains, rewrite the story, and prosper without guilt. See you in the next portal. And remember, when you rise, everyone rises with you.